Hi everyone, it's me, Jordan Long again, and today I want to talk about how my Reckoner will not run the Webshooter. It won't. It doesn't care which side you put it in. Last time it did it, we just shifted out where the mouse was at and put the mouse where the Webshooter is at and the Webshooter where the mouse is at. But this time, it does not seem to make a whole lot of unlikeness. You know, and there's many things folks are going to say, oh, start the Reckoner over again, shut it down, which I already did that, but we all know that's not going to work. And if you look up, and if you go on Euro and look this up, you're going to see films of folks fucking around with all kinds of inner settings in Windows 11 or whatever that you really shouldn't be fucking around with. Someone's going to say, "Oh, well, somehow your shooter rule tool is gone or file's gone." Which no, it's not. It's not gone. It's still there. I even looked. Some are going to say, "Oh, well, need be that web shooter doesn't run with that reckoner." No, it ran it before. And other folks out there are going to say things like, "Oh, well, need be it needs an update." I'm sorry, the makers of this web shooter that I got do not send you any updates. So if you're thinking that's the answer, think again because they don't send you any updates. So that's not the answer. And someone out there will most likely say, "Oh, that need be your reckoner wasn't meant to run a web shooter." Well, if that was true, then why would Windows 11 and 10 have a shooter setting if it was never meant to run a web shooter of any kind? You know, but no one's going to really give a good answer to that one. They're going to say, "Oh, well, maybe it got hacked." No, it did not get hacked. They'll say, "Oh, maybe it's a glitch," which that is most likely true. But if that's true, then they're going to say, "Oh, well, they don't really have an answer for that." To tell you the truth, they don't. They'll say, "Oh, well, you should start the reckoner over again or shut it down," which I already did that. So if you're going to tell me that's the answer, think again. Last time it pulled this stunt, sadly, we had to shift out the mouse and put the mouse where it's at and the web shooter where the web shooter is at, and it worked. Well, this time that is not the answer to the asking thing. And I know I'm just blowing my time making this film because no one who watches this film is going to have the answer. They're not going to help me. They're just going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry it's that's going on," if they say anything about it. And it's sad. So I guess I gotta make all the films now are gonna be made like this with my far Y speaker. Because my reckoner no longer wants to make films. You know? And that's sad. Because you would think that you should have the freedom to make films between your far Y speaker, your reckoner, whatever. Not be handicapped by one so you can only do it on the other, which is sad. It is. And if you say, "Oh, well, did you do something?" No, I didn't go in any settings. I didn't undo any settings. I didn't do anything, you know, to make it not want to run the web shooter. They'll say, "Well, isn't there one inside?" Yes, there is one that's inside, but it's cheap and it doesn't work either. It does, and all the films you make on it come out with Hush, you know. So we got an inside one that's broken as hell, and we got a tool that's most likely broken too. And it wouldn't have cared which one you go with anyway, because the glitch would come in and say, "Oh, I can't run the inside one, I can't run the outside one." So, yeah, that's sad. So now all my films are going to be like this now. Making all the films my far Y speaker now. because my reckoner just doesn't want to run a web shooter anymore. No need who made the web shooter, no need how old or new it is. So give this film a like, share and playlist it, and I'll see you later.